welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposals. I'm your host, Coach Donnie Hess here, back with another AFL round review. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, round three has come. It has gone. We need to talk footy, and because my co-host has a little bit of a time constraint, let's get to talking. I'm great to have him on. May not be the greatest opportunity for him, but I love hearing this gentleman, one of the best Blues fans that I know, Mr. Terry Tagani of Blue Abroad. Terry, it is great to see you again, sir.
Coach Hess, certain things happen every year, and that makes me feel like we're back to normal. And this podcast is one of them. It's one of my favorite traditions. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, as per usual, love having you on. Love getting and feeling the pulse of Blues Nation. Sometimes it doesn't always feel like we really want to feel the pulse, but we'll hop right into it. So we'll jump right into it, sir. Round three has come. It is gone. As a whole, your thoughts on this last round, thankfully, of these early buys when it comes to the footy.
That's terrible. A terrible round. One of the worst rounds I've seen.
Ugh. Not even gonna lie with you, I'm 100% with you. I mean, when the Benny Hill music is being played on Triple M when it comes to following the North Melbourne Essendon game, that tells you about how much people are enjoying the football.
Yeah.
So let's save our pain here. Let's go right into it. Let's go through these games real quickly. So let's start off down at GMHBA Stadium down in Geelong as the Cats get a win over an undermanned Adelaide Crows 68-60. And for me, this is just one of those where I think the big talk is going to be this Lasso controversy. But I honestly think, as great as this game was, the controversy really kind of crapped on what I thought was a good game, despite the horrid weather and the not so great conditions for football.
Yeah, I actually think the Thursday and Friday games are the ones that might have saved the round. There's been a lot of talk about having the poorer teams playing those prime time slots on Thursday and Friday. Well, the last few weeks we've had some pretty good, better teams playing and better
Mhm.
games. I thought the Cats definitely deserved to win. I know the Crows got unlucky with, some calls there towards the end, but I thought the Cats found their grit. I think Bailey Smith said something similar after the game as well. Um, the Cats just know how to manage a season. They know it's a marathon. They're never at their best too early. They just sort of they get the wins where they need them. They take their opportunities more times than not. And yeah, I thought they were impressive. The
Yep.
gritty.
Yep, no, 100% there. The Cats are just the Cats. The one consistent that we know, it seems like every year, is that the Cats are going to be right there when the whips are cracking, no matter how they start. They've started absolutely atrocious in years, and some years they've been fantastic. So 100% with you on that. So kind of feel aggrieved for the Crows again. It feels like they're starting to get a lot of bad rubs of the green when it comes to it. But I think this is one of those where did it change the result? We'll never know, and that's the sad part about it. But an undermanned team, you go down to Geelong and you just barely fall to the Cats. I think if you're a Crows fan, you got to find a few positives when it comes to it. No Dawson, no Walker, some of the outs there. I think if you're a Crows fan, you can find a positive light that you can flip on that. Let's go to Friday night footy at Marvel Stadium. So we'll just throw quickly go by that is Collingwood get a win over GWS 87-54. Damn those pies. Damn those pies.
Yeah. Don't know why everyone keeps thinking they're going to just fall off. I actually think Collingwood is in a similar bucket to Geelong. Yeah, they've got a lot of experience. They've got an older list on paper at the top end, but yeah, I mean, experience counts when you've played in big games. You know how to handle pressure situations. The Giants, is it just easy to say that it's just personnel and they're just missing a few of their key players, and that is the sole reason why they seem to be a bit temperamental. They fluctuate with their
Mhm.
emotions, I find. I mean, I've watched every game of theirs this season. I thought they were actually more consistent in this game on Friday in terms of being at the high intensity needed, but they fluctuate a lot in game.
No, I'm 100% with you. It's you never want to say that the team is incomplete because of who they're missing, but they are missing some really important players. I mean, Sam Taylor is still having his hamstring issues. Toby Bedford's out. They've got a few. I know Josh Kelly's still out. So I'm with you. They seem kind of like, and maybe it's a, and I hate to go here. Maybe it's a little bit of a reflection of who their captain is with Toby Green. Like Toby Green can be absolutely inferno hot, and then he's this weird emotional thing with the Giants. So I don't know. I'm 100% with you. I agree. The Pies, when it comes to it, their experience is just where they need it to. But when you have one of the best players in the competition, in Nick Dacos, and he's playing as out of his mind as he is, along with Josh, both of the Dacos brothers playing really well, as a Carlton fan, it's probably never easy to compliment the old rival, but you got to tip your cap to Collingwood. They're finding ways to win despite some injury issues. I know Darcy Moore is now back out again. We'll have to see how that goes with them, but they keep finding these little gems. They're starting
Yeah.
to kind of become Geelong a little bit. They're grabbing guys from the midseason draft or signing SSP guys, and they're finding a way to be making an impact. So it'd be interesting to see how this goes. I know there's so much talk about Pendlebury breaking the record. Now with his injury, how far does that push back? That'll be another storyline to keep an eye on. Also at Marvel Stadium, we see the Brisbane Lions get a win down in Victoria over St. Kilda, 113-80. But you got to admit, the Saints put a little bit of a scare into the Lions. But again, the Lions class just so much talent through that midfield that just a little bit too much for the Saints.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a video with Jeff White from First Use. I'm not sure if you know who Jeff White is. He used to play in the league and was actually a former number one draft pick, the Ruckman, and he now has his own YouTube channel where he breaks down, stoppage strategies. And I mean, the video was about the Carlton Melbourne game, but he ended up talking about the Brisbane game just off the cuff, just around how when it got late in game, the Lions do such a good job of the way that they lead at the football and create space for their teammates with a lot of unrewarded running. And yeah, I think as the game got late, I mean, the secret sauce is in there, is in the work rate and how they're able to lift and their internal belief. And yeah, they're just a quality outfit. They got, I mean, we just spoke about the Giants missing their key players. I mean, Sam Taylor is the equivalent of what I think Harris Andrews is to the Lions.
Mhm.
They're key back. They're missing a few others as well, but McCluggage. But yeah, they find a way. They get the job done and super experienced. They needed to win. They were 0-2. So yeah.
Yeah, the Lions did what they needed to do again. Like I said, they're class through the midfield. I think it's very interesting to see how you see the young talent of Brisbane, and then how Nasaya with this new contract is it weighing on him, because you can tell some of the results and some of the way he's playing is just a little bit different than last year. So it'd definitely be interesting. But no, I 100% agree with you. It's scary part about the Brisbane Lions is they're not healthy. They could still get healthier. The Harris Andrews to come back from his suspension. Hugh McCluggage is still coming back from his. They did lose Darcy Gardner to an AC joint injury in this one, so we'll have to see,
Mm.
can they keep themselves healthy enough till they get some of these guys back from injury and suspension. So it'll be fascinating to keep an eye on this Lions side as we go on. We'll head out to Optus Stadium out in Fremantle as the Dockers get an impressive 60-point win over the Richmond Tigers. I think this is a little bit wide. You've had some people saying, could Fremantle be the sleeping giant of the competition?
Yeah, I think they're the ones. It's very early to tell. I think they're the ones that are going to make the leap this year. They're all generally they're strong at home. Um, I mean, we'll get into round four a little later in this episode, but I think they're going to get a few away wins. I think they might win this week as well as an early surprise tip. But yeah, I believe in Freo, and I think they're the ones. I think they're the ones that are going to make the quantum leap to the next level.
Yeah, no, and the scary part is, like I said, is they're still kind of gelling a little bit too, and you're seeing Luke Jackson kind of stepping out and becoming that superstar that I think a lot of people thought he was, and then Sean Darcy comes back, so it gives Luke a little bit of flexibility. Can he go through the midfield? Will he go forward? Does he go on the wing? Does he go through the ruck and Darcy when Darcy's rusting? So it's very fascinating. I mean, Sarong, Brayshaw. I mean, Voss is playing out of his mind right now. You're seeing some just great impact. They got Luke Ryan back, and he's starting to play well. Jordan Clark off the halfback line. So the Fremantle team could be scary. if they find a way, as you said, to get a few away wins. We know they're usually really good at Optus Stadium. It's can they get on the airplane, go to Victoria, go to South Australia, go to New South Wales, go to Queensland, and steal and get 4 points on the road. Because if they can do that, that makes that much more daunting a trip out west when a team is playing really good football and can do it while getting on a plane as well. So 100% with you on that. To the Saturday night game, that I think this one had so much intrigue for a game that, I mean, let's be honest with you, was it the greatest advert for football?
It was
No.
awful.
I was trying to be nice. I was
It
really
was
trying, Terry. I'm
awful.
trying, Terry. Come on. Come on. Stay with me here. I'm trying so hard to make this nice. Was this great? Absolutely not. Was this the football that we needed on a Saturday night? It was like a car wreck on the highway. You didn't want to look, but you just had to. So,
It was
I mean, go ahead,
it was
Terry.
bizarre. It was, I mean, there were moments in the game where I thought, okay, I actually almost started barracking for the Bombers just because you could see they were just trying so hard.
Yep.
And then they would sort of kick one or two in a row that they needed, and then they would just concede with a disgusting skill error. And then North, they would just sort of like limp over the line and like also make skill errors. The game was so quick. And then when it came to slowing the game down, neither team could do it. And then I think North eventually it clicked, second half,
Hmm.
fourth quarter mostly. Um, sorry, third quarter, I should say, because the Bombers did finish strongly in the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was. I know that the Blues lost and we choked and all of that, but like that game on Saturday night was awful to watch.
Yeah. Let's just safe to say I was listening to Triple M and they literally played it. And there's a passage where I think there's like 5 or 6 skill errors, and literally Jess Webster goes, "Is somebody gonna want to play football?" And they literally started playing the Benny Hill music over the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
I can't not laugh because it's hilarious because it's just a perfect call. But it's kind of sad that that's the Saturday night game. That's like the prime time game. So I know some of the people that are not too happy about Fox Footy getting the prime time game kind of chuckled at that one. That here you go, here's your prime time game. This what we call football, whether it was or not. So let's move on. We'll move to Sunday where it's a little bit more entertaining. We'll start off with probably the classic of this round, and that is the West Coast Eagles. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you hear me correctly. The West Coast Eagles get a 2 point win at the Adelaide Oval, beating Port Adelaide 92-90. Harley Reid, Cooper Duff Tyler, Will Dersma, this young core, maybe they're starting to click. And boy, was it fantastic to watch this absolute cracker and to see this young Eagles side getting some confidence under their belts.
Yeah. I didn't watch this game. I was busy at this point with my Carlton commitments. But yeah, that's the win that just gives you the little signal that things are going to start changing for the Eagles. Obviously, still going to be inconsistent, but yeah, an away win like that, I think, yeah, that's the little pulse of change.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to watch this Eagle side because I think for the longest time they were the guaranteed 4 points, and now not so much. It's you almost kind of wished you had the Eagles before this game because anything after, you never know what you're going to get. So,
Yeah.
and I don't want to. Let's go to the MCG. All right, Terry, break me down here. Unfortunately, the Blue Baggers rip your hearts out again as they let the D's get a win by 23, 100-77. Here's your mic, sir. Go ahead. Tell me
Yeah,
what the hell happened.
man, it was just much of the same. We saw it happen just over a year ago with Richmond, dominate the game, up by 40 points, dominate the inside game, win the contested ball, and then slowly but surely the game starts changing into a different phase, and the D start getting us out, on the outside. Then the Blues start, sort of shriveling up, going into their shell. You sense the fear, you sense the inability to create run that they were creating in the first half, and dump kicks by senior leaders, going backwards when you should be going forwards or at least laterally. Wrong decisions after wrong decisions, and we end up not only just losing the game, we lose by 4 goals, which just makes it even more bizarre. I mean, the D's didn't kick their first goal until late in the second quarter, and then they go on to kick 14 goals in the second half. And so Yeah, it's as a supporter of the team, all of us who are supporters, nothing we can say has an impact on the result. And so unfortunately, we have to just sit there and, sort of cop it and hope for the best. But yeah, it's tough, mate. You just keep watching the same mistakes repeat.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day in the worst possible type, and I think
Yeah,
that's the hardest part about it. And it's not like you played horribly. It's just as you said, it's a calamity of errors, the worst possible time, and it's like you almost start to question. You go, "Yeah, did you not train for 4 quarters of football? Like, did you train for 3 quarters or 2 quarters? Because it seems like the fourth quarter or the third quarter seems to be where the fade starts to happen, and you start to go, what is it? Like, you
yeah,
don't think it's personnel, but is it personnel, or is it coaching, or is it the training staff, is it the physios? We don't know. And I think that's the frustrating part, is there's nothing, one thing you can pin it down to, or if you do, then it seems like something else changes. So uh, to the Blues Nation that I know, is so many of you are great people. It's that hurt, that hurt to watch that one. So I feel your pain, sir. I really, really do on that. So that is all of the 7 games, as the Gold Coast, the Western Bulldogs, the Hawks, and the Swans got to kick up their feet. They did not have to worry about playing football in this particular round. So let's jump to it. We will go to the burning questions. Here we go. One more round of buys before we get through these buys. So, as a footy fan, how annoying is it knowing that over these last 3 weeks, somebody's not playing football and we don't get 9 games per weekend?
yeah. Well, you almost lose the sense of what's a normal round of football because it takes 4 or 5 rounds before you get every team playing again. And then you start settling into that. And then the next round of buys come. Yeah. So it's frustrating. Look, it's frustrating. It is what it is. It's tricky. It's annoying. But like just bring every team into opening round, celebrate the game. Mate, if you're going to go into opening round, don't dip your toes into it. Go all in. Get every
Mm-hmm.
club involved. Get the
Yep.
whole league involved, and we get it. You want to capitalize on the NRL not being in town for a weekend. Great. So just bring all the AFL teams into the round and go for it.
Nope. Nope. I 100%. I said the idea a couple of years. I said the idea last year, and
Mm.
I've had a lot of people say it's a brilliant idea. As I said, just play it as round one, call it round one, but call it Northern round, and just basically prime time the Northern markets. Like Thursday night footy, maybe you do the Carlton Richmond, but then Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, both of the games are in the Northern markets. That way, you still have round zero, like we've been doing with the Northern teams getting a spotlight, but everybody gets to play. Like I'm 100% with you. I don't like it. It just, all it does is cause more whinging about 2 buys and isn't an advantage. Personally, I don't think so. I think it ruins momentum early in the season. Personally, for me, I think I've seen more teams have runs kind of halted because they play 2 games, stop. Like, it's great for the Brisbane Lions. They got kind of healthy, but does it ruin momentum for a team when you're playing really good football like the Western Bulldogs? 3 gate games, and now you get a bye. Like, you lose momentum going into this
Mm.
round. So
Yeah.
100% with you on that. I think next year, I think the centenary test and a few things I think might actually make next year, like, I don't think there's going to be round zero. I think round one is just going to be opening round with round one. I hope
Yeah.
so. I really hope so. But we'll see. Again, as soon as I think the AFL makes a good decision, they decide to bugger it up. So so let's go to it. I'm as a Victorian, I'm very interested on your opinion on this, because we just heard the grand final for at least the next 2 years is going to stay at the 2:30 time slot, which there's some very, very, very avid opinion people on social media. So I'm interested, Terry, as the Victorian that you are. I mean, what are your thoughts on them setting the next 2 years? We're guaranteed at least the 2:30 time slot.
I might be the wrong person to ask this question because I could not care less.
Okay.
If it's 2:30, it's 2:30. If it's 4:30, it's 4:30. If it's a nighttime grand final, or like I actually don't really care. It doesn't, yeah, like whatever.
If
I
your team's
mean,
there, you're watching no matter what time it starts,
yeah.
right? Nope,
And
I
if
get
my
it.
team's not there, I'm still gonna watch it. Like, I
Yep.
mean, grand final day for me traditionally has been you make a day of it. You have the barbecue.
Hmm.
You know you watch the afternoon. It's the game, and then you sort of carry into the evening, and you celebrate. As in, you just sort of celebrate the footy season being over. And
Yep.
you know, obviously, you don't get to celebrate as much after the game, the conclusion of the season, if it's a nighttime grand final. But you know, you bring in the international viewers, and it makes it easier for people like yourself to tune in. So,
It
or
depends. I
does
think
it?
it like well here's my look on it, and I appreciate you being so flexible on that because again there are people that are die hard like it cannot move, it needs to stay at 2:30, and I 100% understand that, and I think a lot of people when I go online and I talk about it, I always caveat this. The 2:30 time slot, technically for me and many of the American fans, it's actually kind of nice
Oh,
because for me, the game starts about 11:30-ish p.m. my time. So about midnight Eastern time zone, 9:30 for the West for my West Coast friends. So it's actually the 2:30 time slot's actually really good for me because it's not too late at night. If you go to the twilight, well, now I'm moving to about 2:30 in the morning for me personally here in the central time zone. And then if you go to the night grand final, we're talking 4 or 5 in the morning. So technically the move for me makes it more difficult. But I understand the arguments for it because so many of the big professional sports play their championship game in prime time. Prime time usually will always have more people watching it. That's just fact. That's television for you. I get it. For these people that are advertising at the grand final, they're going to see so many more eyeballs if the game is played later than 2:30. I get it. I'm literally I have no skin in the game. I am like you, Terry. I don't care.
mm,
But I'm also a realist. I know if these TV rights deals want to make more money, and if
mm,
the AFL wants to make money for these players to be paid more, which you know the players are always going to push to be paid more for what they put their bodies through, the later the grand final, the better because you're going to make more money from it. And I get that. That's why I want people to understand when they listen to this. I don't care. If it's at 2:30, that's fine. If it's at prime time, that's fine. I'm going to watch the game no matter what, but I'm a realist. I realize this game is moving eventually. As strong-armed as some of these fans are complaining about we can't move it, it will move. I
it
just have
will.
a feeling it will. It's just I think with everything that's kind of happened this year, they've kept it at 2:30 to kind of because so many fans have been so upset about some things that they're kind of trying to tiptoe through the tulips a little bit when it comes to the fans. It's going to move. And I know some fans are absolutely going to be livid for me saying that. It's going to because advertisers and the AFL know you're going to make more money at
Yeah.
4:30 or at 7:30. That's
And
just the honest to God truth.
they almost need to keep something up their sleeve for when the next TV deal comes through.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of maybe could be a bit of a strategy there as well.
Yep. So, yep. No, I 100% agree. So I want people that are listening to the video, like I said, I'm 100%. I really don't care. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter to me. I'm going to watch the game no matter what. I'm 100% with you. And for the people that are so ardent, my first question always is, because if your team makes it and they move it to 7:30, are you going to boycott the game? Because if you genuinely stand on your opinion, you're going to
mm,
boycott even if your team is there. Because if you don't, then your argument really is toothless. And that's all
yeah,
I'll say about that. So
right.
I'll get off my soapbox. So
I
we'll
like
move
it.
to it. I know
Let
we
him
don't.
have it, Coach S. Let him have it.
Well, I've had a few people, they stop talking to me when I point that out. I'm going, it said, if just throw it out there. If you're a Saints supporter and you wanted it 2:30, well, if the Saints make the grand final and they move it to 4:30, if you're not going to boycott it, then you're toothless. You're really
Yeah,
whining about nothing because you're still going to watch it. So they're
yeah,
still going to get their rating that they want. So just
yep,
bugger off. Okay, whatever.
yep,
So we'll get to the last one. As a person that you are huge in Blues Nation, I know so many Blues fans pay attention to your podcast. It's such a great connection for all of the Blues supporters that we have. Are we hitting the panic button yet? Or are we past hitting the panic button in Blues Nation right now?
Um, I mean, the writing's on the wall.
Hmm.
You you just can't be losing games when you're up by 40.
Hmm.
So I was very much in favor of what the club did at the back end of last year in taking their medicine and understanding this group will not win the premiership in its current iteration. And so making the deal for Charlie Curnow, I thought, as much as it hurt,
Hmm.
because we had gone through a whole decade of building towards being a contender, it was just very clear that this wasn't going to work for a number of reasons. So I like what they did. I'm on board with what they did, and I was somewhat positive and optimistic, and yeah, just behind what they were doing. And you know they've done everything to support the coach, which is something they hadn't done as a football club for a long time, if not ever, in my time watching it. Um, but there's just I don't think it matters where you are in your development, whether you are a team that's at the very, very bottom rebuilding from scratch and you've bottomed out, or if you're at the top, you're up by 40, you lose the game. It's just so inexcusable. And it's the pattern of the same behavior. It's the pattern of don't know what to do under pressure, can't handle the pressure, can't make the right decision under pressure, fading out. Maybe the frustrating part is because they look so good and they're able to dominate their opponents for half a game, like
Hmm.
genuinely dominate an opponent. So you're like, okay, well, there is something there, clearly, because it's not like a four-quarter demolition.
Hmm.
And I guess it begs the question, would you rather your team just lose the game for four quarters and just get dominated and just not good enough? Or would you rather your team have the ability to at least get up by 40 points? Like, you
Hmm.
know, is it a silver lining or is it irrelevant that they were up by 40? That's kind of where it's at. And the fact that I'm conditioned at this point in my life to not be confident anymore after getting up by 40 plus points is bizarre to
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a weird conditioning. It's a weird conditioning, and it's frustrating. And you can tell the Blues Nation is just they're tired. They're sick and tired of this. Like it just is inexcusable. And I think that's the
Yeah.
frustrating part about it. So, like I said, from a Swans fan, like I said, the Charlie Curnow deal, we talked a little bit of it off mic, and I will still say I think there was some frustration on my side. I openly said, "Do I like the deal? No. If I'm a Blue supporter, I love the deal. You get three first round picks. There's part of you. I know there's an evil part of Blues Nation that'll hope the Swans don't do well because it gives you a better pick. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. It'll be very very interesting. I'm hoping both sides of the deal. Like I said, I wish Oflo, Ollie Florent, and Will Hayward all the best at Blues. I think they've actually went down there and made a nice impact. Just hope everything, like I said. So for me to you, sir, I hope that this ship gets righted before the end of the year. I really, really do. Because
Yeah.
always great to see Blues Nation up and about. A few years ago, that finals run, I I'm not a Blues supporter, but even I had to partially go. They became my team in the finals because you wanted them to do well. Just
Yeah.
seeing that support there. So
Yeah.
that'll end our burning questions. We jump to team of the week. I love Terry's response to mine because sometimes he gives me some really good feedback. So I'm fascinated in how he sees this. So here we go. Jump into the team of the week for good old Coach Hess. Starting the fullback line, Nick Murray, from the Adelaide Crows, Bo Allen from the West Coast Eagles, and Cal Wilkie of the St. Kilda Saints roam the fullback line and the halfback line. Josh Jacobs of the Collingwood Magpies, Lockie Whitfield of the GWS Giants, and finding a new home, Luke Parker of the North Melbourne Kangaroos round out the halfback line. Roaming the wings, we have Jared Berry of the Brisbane Lions and Ed Langdon of the Melbourne Demons. In the ruck, we have Luke Jackson of the Fremantle Dockers. In the center, we have Nick Dacos of the Collingwood Magpies, Fremantle's Caleb Sarong, and Richmond's Tim Taranto round out the guts in the midfield. Along the half forward line, we have Jack Martin of the Geelong Cats, Melbourne's Bailey Fritsch, and Carlton's Mitch McGovern goes forward, kicks some goals. We'll give him a little bit of love on that one. The full forward line, we have Tim Membry of the Collingwood Magpies, Jake Waterman of the West Coast Eagles, and Fremantle's Josh Tracy. rounds out the starting lineup. As I said, this year, because of five on the bench, we now have five. We have defender, ruck, midfielder, forward, and utility now on the bench. My defender is Jack Sinclair of the St. Kilda Saints. My ruck is, though blue aside, Tristan Geary of the North Melbourne Kangaroos. My midfielder is Harley Reid of the West Coast Eagles. My forward is Mitch Georgiadis of the Port Adelaide Power. And I got to give a little bit of love. Harvey Thomas of the GWS Giants is my utility to round out this lineup. So, some interesting names here, Terry. Your thoughts on Team of the Week?
I would, if I, this is actually a massive compliment. I would only make one change to that team.
Shoot.
It would be Max Gawn instead of Tristan Sherry uh,
Okay.
as the backup ruck. Because I mean Jackson was epic.
Yep.
I was there at the game for the Blues as well, obviously, and yeah, Max Gawn had like 23 possessions and like 58 hitouts, and Tristan Sherry obviously he had the blood incident. I thought he was strong earlier, then I actually thought he got a little bit in his head afterwards. I think he knew he was in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he just didn't
Yep.
have that same dominance in the way that he usually does after it happened.
Yeah.
They obviously end up going to win the game, so we did something right. But yeah,
Yep.
I watched Max Gawn put in an incredible performance for his 250th. But yeah, I got to say, it's a pretty good team.
Yep.
Yeah, not far
Yeah, it
off
was
where I
it
would have
was it
gone.
was a it was a fun week. The fullback line having two fullbacks that kick goals. I thought that makes my job a little bit easier. Cal Wilkie has just been incredible. He started off this year just as good as he was last year. I was a little disappointed he didn't get a All Australian jumper last year because I thought Cal Wilkie was one of the best fullbacks in the competition personally. So that is through the team of the week, and we always end our podcast. I know we're early in the week. We got a tip. Two teams will take a seat this weekend as St. Kilda and GWS will end the rounds of bye. So here we go. Thursday night footy. Cannot wait for it. Up at the Gabba as the Brisbane Lions host the Collingwood Magpies. Curious on this, Terry. I know you, as a Carlton supporter, you never like tipping the Pies, but the Pies travel well up to Brisbane.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a great game. So my general rule of thumb is where there's a coin flip situation, I tend to just go with the home team, and I think this is
Mhm.
one of those. And so I'll go with the Lions and tip them this week.
Yep, I am with you on that again. Being at home, I think if this is at the MCG, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the Pies, but Brisbane at home, getting some. Hopefully, they get Harris. I think they get Harris Sanders back next week, so we'll have to
Mm.
see how they kind of duct tape their back line with Darcy Gardner being out. But that midfield is just such a pain. I think it's going to give Collingwood headaches. So I have the Brisbane Lions on this one. Interesting Friday night footy. I love this. I love this. The connection with the Royal Children's Hospital as North Melbourne take on your beloved Blues, sir. This is an interesting one for you. Your thoughts, Blues, Roos, who do you like? The head bow. Oh, sorry.
Surely, Coach Hess, surely the Blues can do this. So this is the last time Carlton will be favourites in a game until round 13. I've had a look at it. Uh, I just don't want to imagine a reality where Carlton lose this game because of what the fallout will be and like all of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So by virtue of how disastrous a loss would be after what had just happened 5 days earlier, I'm going to tip the Blues.
I will say this. I'm gonna tip the Blues because I think the Tristan Jerry suspension hurts.
Yeah.
Pitnet's playing really good football. Pitnet's been playing really good football. I think that takes away, that lets you kind of muck up the middle, which then allows Crippa and Sam Walsh to have a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more of a speedy, skilled midfield for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. I think he can beat up on them a little bit. So I like the Blues in this one. I think the Giri suspension hurts. It's this the worst possible time to lose them when you got a really good ruck and Pitnet coming in and a
Mm.
midfield that likes to crash and bash like the Carlton midfield does. Um, I worry this is a little bit like Essendon. The skill could be fun at times, but I will tip the Blues on
You're
this
so
one.
nice.
I will tip the Blues onto this one, but I agree with you. This is a little terrifying for Blues Nation because if the Roos pump you, all sorts of hell's gonna break. lose. And I really, really worry about that one. I cannot wait for this one as Adelaide host the Fremantle Dockers at the Adelaide Oval. Oh, I'm gonna tip the Dockers on this one. As traveling sometimes they're not always I'm not always confident with them for some weird reason. Sometimes they leave their best boots at home, but the Crows are being held together with any adhesive they can on the back line with all of the injury. I think this is the worst possible matchup. Tracy's playing well, Voss is playing well, Dudley's playing well. You've got Jackson playing extremely well in the ruck with Sarong and Brayshaw through the center. I just think this is a matchup nightmare for the Crows in this one. I like the Dockers.
I'm with you, mate. Yeah, I believe in the Dockers and the Crows. I mean, they can get going at home, but they were home recently, and yeah, there's just something off about them. And again, it could just be personnel. I mean, it could be as simple as that. But I will be tipping the Dockers as well.
Yeah, so but I think this could be an absolute cracking game. I cannot wait for that one. And then moving up to the next one, we have the Richmond Tigers at home at the MCG hosting the Port Adelaide Power in this one. Who do you like in this one?
Richmond, back them in the young Tigers.
This is a coin toss that I'm gonna go the road team for once, only because I think some of
Mm.
the experience of Port Adelaide. And no Toby Nankervis. Jordan Sweet's playing pretty good football. I think sometimes
Mm.
that can really hurt you, especially with that. So I'm going to tip Port in this one. But man, did I come really, really close to joining you and tipping Richmond on this one. I think it could be a fascinating one at the MCG. Let's head out west to Optus Stadium. A scary game for my Swans as the West Coast Eagles host the Sydney Swans out at this one. The Eagles playing well, Swans coming off the bye. I'm terrified of a first quarter malaise from a Swans coming off the bye in this one. I'll tip Sydney, but I'm not as confident as I would have been a few weeks ago when the West Coast were not playing as good a football as they are.
Interesting, interesting. I mean, the Eagles don't have a very good first quarter record either, even in both of their wins that we've seen them start poorly. I don't have the guts to tip the Eagles in this, but I wouldn't anyway. The Swans will win this game. It's just, yeah, Heaney's back and away they go.
This one scares me. This one really scares me because if the Eagles at home, they're going to get a good crowd. They're getting some confidence into these young kids. So this is a terrifying game for Sydney. They cannot go in and sleepwalk through a first quarter. They cannot let this Eagles team get up on them. Plain and
Mm.
simply. If the Swans can put 5 or 6 goals in the first quarter, get a 15, 20 point lead, then I think you can kind of break this young side. But if West Coast is in it or has a lead at quarter time, I'm terrified as a Swan supporter for sure. A very, very interesting one. Sad that Christian Petrarca is not going to be able to play in this one as the Melbourne Demons host the Gold Coast Suns at the MCG. I know no Petrarca, I know no Bailey Humphrey, but this is such a talented Gold Coast side in this one. I'm going to tip the Suns in this one. But I will say this, the D's, if they can stay close, they've got a shot because when you have Max gone, anything can happen through the center.
Yeah, that's true. I will be tipping the Suns in this one. I think they'll win well.
Yep. So, but I think this would be, I think that'll be a surprisingly close one. Um, Next one, not so much. Marvel Stadium, Western Bulldogs, Essendon Bombers. I mean, do I even have to ask?
Pack it up. I think the Dogs might have kicked 19 or 21 straight 21 goals, something like that. There was something ridiculous a few years back at Marvel against the Bombers, and yeah, I think the Bombers are in trouble. I mean, they're in trouble generally, but yeah, I think the Dogs will win this well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest betting margin I've seen. It's $1 to $21. It
Wow.
is insane the
Yeah.
difference. And then the usual Easter Monday game, a cracking one at the MCG as the Hawks and the Cats do battle again, the old rivals. Interested on this, Terry? What are your thoughts? Hawks, Cats, who do you like?
Geelong, they'll just find a way.
So I'm going to tip the Hawks in this one. Some of the injuries. I'm not sure. Is Warble coming back? Is he's not? This is a weird one because neither team has a super dominant midfield. They both are pretty good offensively, pretty good defensively. I think whichever team can somewhat have some dominance through the midfield, I think can win it. I'm gonna tip the Hawks in this one. Just the young Hawks are gonna are gonna just run all day. Can the Cats stay with them? And can Coach Mitchell figure out a way to neutralize Tommy Stewart? Because for some weird reason, we all know what Tommy Stewart wants to do, and some teams just can't figure it out. So you're hoping for some intrigue that Coach Mitchell can figure something out. So tipping the Hawks in this one, but cracking Monday Easter game for that. So that is it. That is all the games, as we said. St. Kilda and GWS get to kick their feet up and watch this round of football. And that is everything for the podcast. But we don't want to go. As per usual, whenever I have somebody that has a podcast, I like to be able to have their chance to tell us a little bit about it. So Terry, I know it hasn't always been the greatest, but tell me, how are things going with Blue Abroad, and how are things at the channel for you with everything Blue Abroad and the Carlton Blues?
Yeah, I mean, I love the channel. The channel is great. The channel, I don't know what I'd do without it. And I've been, this is my ninth year now, doing this, sixth year on YouTube, and then a few years as the podcast, and then audio only podcast, and then did a bit of video on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Incrementally grows every year, and we find new people and new listeners and new viewers every week and every year. And you know, it's gonna be one long, long, long documentary, the one where the Blues end up winning the premiership, because that's what this all
Hmm.
is about, documenting every step until the Blues win their next premiership. So I thought this would be a movie. It's now turned into a documentary. Maybe it's like a three-part trilogy that is actually a movie. I don't know. There's just so many phases. But I love it. Yeah, love doing it. I love covering it. I love the game, and I'm very grateful to be in this position.
Interesting. Yep. So, like I said, love your work again. I may be a Swans fans, but I always try to support when I have friends that do club specific ones, because it's just so awesome to be part of the kind of the footy network. So it's always fun. I love having Terry on. As he says, it's kind of become a tradition. I always reach out before the season starts and have him on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this particular podcast. Again, keep an eye out for more footy coverage. As we said, the VFL, the Sample, and the Waffle are getting started. So we've already had the coverage on that. So my footy days and my footy weekends just get more and more fun. So that's going to do it for this episode of Donnie's Disposals. And we'll be back with more footy coverage very, very soon.